Autumn arrived at night when a shadow passed over the steppe, not a cloud, not a bird, not time. It simply appeared. When dawn touched the earthy hills, a farmer named Danilo saw something new in the center of the field among the winter crops, a round hollow in the soil, perfectly smooth, darker than night. He approached in silence and froze. He returned home, took a shovel, but something dull spun in his mind, not a thought, not fear. The pit had no smell, no wind, no life. The plants near its edge had withered, as if drained from within. That evening, Danilo brought an old ladder and began to descend. But the ladder was too short. He saw only the black, smooth earth, like a scar on the land's face. He returned home, took a shovel, but something dull spun in his mind, not a thought, not fear. The pit had no smell, no wind, no life. The plants near its edge had withered, as if drained from within. That evening, Danilo brought an old ladder and began to descend. But the ladder was too short. He saw only the black, smooth earth, like a scar on the land's face. By the fifth day, people started vanishing. Quietly. They simply didn't return. No one heard them, saw them, found them. Warm food remained in their homes, burning lamps opened doors. Then the homes themselves began to fade. As if someone pulled them out of the world, erased the paint, blurred the lines like an old photograph. Danilo lived on the outskirts. His garden stretched up to the hill. He saw everything, the departure of kin, the world becoming opaque. Shadows disappeared from the air, color from the sky. The pit remained. Not deepening, not widening, only darkening, as though swallowing the world. On the ninth day, the sun began to move differently. It rose in the east but no longer grew brighter. Its light turned cold like frost in June. His bones trembled, though the air was warm. The world lost sense. The 10th day, all near the pit vanished. Bushes, poles, barns, as if lifted out without sound or trace. Danilo returned again to the pit. It was no longer just dark, something stirred within it. Not objects, concepts. Echoes of what the earth once was. Words that had never been born, the essence of things yet to exist. He stood at the edge and knew the pit was no longer only in the ground. It lived in the air, in time, in all. Its center was expanding inward, sideways, and deep. By evening he saw no river, no trees, no home. The land itself unraveled in patches. The sky blackened, not from night, but from what seeped through the gate. It didn't scream, didn't moan. Only breathed in the rhythm of the heart still beating in Danilo's chest. He remained. His eyes no longer saw, but his mind still held outlines of the world. The human body shouldn't endure this, but he did. When the last sound vanished, the crack of twigs, the crunch of ice, the rustle of wings, Danilo knelt at the edge. He lowered his hand into the pit. The soil was cold as a well's bottom and yet alive like a heartbeat beneath skin. His body dissolved. Not vanished, simply ceased being separate. He didn't fall, didn't die. He merged with what had always lived in the shadow. The world ended not with an explosion, not with a scream, not with war. It curled into itself like a stream returning to its seed. Into silence, into black earth, into a depth that never had a bottom. Time passed or didn't. Days lost meaning, as did breath and space. But he, or what was left of Danilo, still existed. Memory remained, blurred like a half-erased track in snow. He had no name, no body, no boundary. Only a sense of presence, dull, like a heartbeat in a deep mine. The world around wasn't dark or light. It simply was. And all that had vanished, homes, trees, rivers, villagers, time, now pulsed nearby, like fine sand that would not settle. But where the core of emptiness had been, silence now pulsed. This was not death, nor life. It was something third, a space before and after everything. The silence breathed, slowly, evenly, deeply. And with each breath something changed, not outside, within. In the very idea of being, where the pit once was, now a seed stirred. Not wheat or corn, but something primal, unnamed. It pushed roots into nothingness, sprouted through the unseen layers of the lost world. From it came light, unseen, yet warming, not skin, but meaning. All faded images began to gather toward it, like dead fish drawn to current. The light didn't change anything, yet wouldn't let anything go completely. It settled in broken memories, in the silence of former things, and upon their ruins something new began to take shape. What remained of Danilo became the core. He no longer thought thoughts were unnecessary. But each memory, movement, unsaid word, all pulsed at the edges of the new reality. And where his body had fallen, everything began to gather, forgotten names, old dreams, the scent of hay, the rustle of grain. The past did not return. It became soil. When the echo of the first world settled, the first form appeared. Not human, not beast, not spirit. It had no features, only essence. It rose from the black earth like dawn from night. Not torn free, grown, silent, slow, yet powerful. It was the first sprout of the new. Then came a second, a third, 1,000. The new world did not copy the old. It had no cities, no machines, no electricity, no speech. But it held something more: balance. What once screamed now whispered. What once burned now glowed. Humans didn't return, for they no longer existed in that form. Yet memory of them remained. It grew into the new reality as roots into soft soil. What once was voice became wind's echo. What once was body became clay, and the soul became wind above the field. Danilo, though nameless, still existed. Not as God or creator, but as ground. At the root of the new being, without speech, without form, without violence. He was the first crack from which the second birth sprouted. One day, after eras without time, creatures appeared on the renewed land. Not humans, but not wholly other. They built nothing, destroyed nothing, named nothing. They lived in harmony with field, sky, and silence. They remembered the pit without knowing it. They felt Danilo's shadow, though they never knew his name. And they guarded the soil, not from fear, but from memory of what everything might become had it not folded into itself. One day, beneath a tall tree, one of them touched the earth and saw a vision. The old world, yellowed photos, a field with a crack, a man with a shovel, and something like a heartbeat in the land itself. She said nothing, she could not, for there were no words, but the silence absorbed the echo, and so the journey ended. Not with fire, not with prophecy, not with glory, but with quiet blooming through death, through a pit that became a heart, through black earth that held life when none remained.